Good evening, class. How are you doing, guys? Hello? Good evening. Good evening, class. How are you doing today? Okay.
We are doing fine.
Let's proceed. Thank you, Mercy. Let's proceed. Before we start on our topic today, let's recap on our last topic. We did planning of investigative journalism. What do you guys remember?
Planning for investigative journalism was mainly about outlining the steps to follow while carrying out an interview for investigative journalism.
Thank you, Mercy. Thank you, Mercy, for that. Yeah, she's right. We talked about planning interview, things you need before an interview. That is finding the source of your story and creating a rapport and such. But today, we're going to deal with, give me a second, guys. We are going to talk about interviewing skills for investigative reporting. Basically, these are the things you are supposed to do during an interview. While you are interviewing, what do you require? What do you need to come up with? Firstly, you need to have a goal. You have a story to tell the audience. What is your story? What are you talking about? The details you need. These are the things you need to consider at this stage. You have to be specific, and your information should be detailed. These are the questions you need to ask yourself. Secondly, you need to, for example, you have a source that is an expert. You're dealing with a doctor, a lawyer, and yourself, you are not well versed in this area. You need to do a lot of research, gather a lot of information beforehand, before this interview is done. These are some of the considerations you need to consider. And thirdly, you have to come up with targeted questions. These are general topics that you need to generate. Instead of just coming up with questions that are random, you need to dig deep, go deeper, come up with topics. For example, you break down your story into different bodies. These are the guidelines that will guide you during your story. Fourthly, our fourth point here will be you need to create a natural conversation. Like, for example, you'll find your source is nervous. Maybe they have the information, but they are nervous. They end up not conveying the information you need. You need to make them comfortable enough to reveal whatever you need. Before an interview, you need to have different tools. For example, a recorder. Maybe if your interview is not just an audio, it's a video, you need a camera too. So all of these things needs a backup. You can't just walk into an interview without a backup. You need backup for these things. These are the things you need to consider up front before the interview. Give me a second, guys. While I continue with this information, you need to check on my screen and initialize yourself with this information. Try to read these points while I explain in details. First of all, before the interview begins, you need to state to your source that you are a journalist, because they need to understand that whatever you're presenting to them, it will be either broadcasted or published. They need to know this upfront. So you need to tell them, I'm a journalist and I'm doing this story because of this and this. Come out clear. They need to know. And you should also indicate that you are planning. Give me a second, guys. If you are planning to record your interview, you need to tell them, because some people don't like if they are recorded or if they appear on camera. So they need to know. These are some of the information they need to know up front. You need to tell them, especially if it's their first time appearing on camera. It will be very important. It may even affect how they will speak, how they will convey their message, whatever they're trying to tell you, it will affect them. And if you agree that your interview is on record before doing the interview, and at the end of the interview, your source decides that they don't want the information to be on record, you should stick to whatever they agreed before, because some of this information are very important and they are needed, especially while compiling your story. When the time comes for you to record your story, you need to place your devices closer to your sources, because whatever they are saying is whatever you will need for that interview. Whatever they are giving you is what is very important in this content. And finally, I think this is the time you can now start the interview. I think you will have prepared enough. You will have prepared yourself to begin your interview. I think that is it today, class. We can try to remind ourselves what we have learned today. Anyone who can summarize for us? Anyone who remembers what we have talked about? Nobody remembers what we have talked about, class?
We have talked about how to go about getting an investigative story, that we really need to have the right questions to ask. We really need to do a research on whatever we need to uncover, and we really need to know what our audience expect from us as investigative journalists.
That's right, Mercy. Thank you so much. That's right. Good work. That's it for today, class, but I want you to do an assignment for me. Now, after doing an interview, there's something you need to do, and I want you guys to find out whatever you've gathered after the interview, what is the next step, and that's what we will talk about in the next class. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam.
Bye.
Bye.